Alright guys, as you can see we're here for AOR Season 15, round number 4 here for the Bahrain Grand Prix. This season racing in the night time of day setting instead of official, because the official one is just way too bright compared to what real life F1 is like round here. But heading into this round I was feeling pretty confident because I'd done a fair amount of practice and the setup felt like it was pretty good in qualifying and not amazing in the race, but I felt like it should hopefully be good enough to get me on the podium here today. But my pace in qualifying around here was looking better than my race pace, to be honest, which is pretty rare, and it's not really a track I enjoy too much. I've never really got on with this track too well. I've never had a podium around here in AOR in any tier I've competed in, so you can see provisionally I am in P1 so far in this qualifying session, and we're on our second run at the moment. I've fueled for 2 laps here, but if this lap is good enough then we're not going to go again, because you want to try and save these tyres, because tyre wear is pretty tight around here because it's a one stop, and you'll see later on in the video that it was a choice for me between medium and soft tyres for the second stint. But you can see we're up on our previous best time. I think in practice I was doing around 27.6s pretty consistently, and we didn't really have frame rate issues in this qualifying session. It wasn't too bad, it was still not great, but you can see only about 700ths up, which is going to put us on course for a 27.8, which I was aiming to be better than that. But at this point in the lap when I was driving, I just didn't really want to go for another lap because I've already pushed on this lap and I didn't want to get any more tyre wear than I needed to, really, as I've said already. So about a tenth up, heading towards the final corner, no DRS down this straight. We're going to brake at the 100 metre board or just after and try and take a good amount of curb around there. Don't touch the curb on the exit. Shifting up now into sixth gear, opening DRS, and across the line we set a 27.8, which, as I said, is not really the time I wanted to get, but I was hoping it would be good enough for a front row, or top 3 at least. But you can see it's actually put me in 5th, which is not too bad. You can still fight for a good result from 5th on the grid, but with a 27.6 I could have been 2nd, which is a bit frustrating. But anyway, we go to the race now. 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go, and it's a decent launch. You can see Alvaro Mezia has already gone over to cover off Curly, and we've now got a pretty much clear run around the outside here, so braking pretty late. Curly also brakes pretty late. You can see a bit of carbon fibre there heading into turn 1, but we've gained a position already on Alvaro Mezia, and we are now into P4, which is definitely a good start. So progress made already, and we're going to be pretty aggressive here because I want to get through, and we're going to go up the inside of Curly already, and you can see we've actually hit Chicken ever so slightly there. And yeah, I just outbraked myself a bit and he left the door open. I wasn't going for a move or anything, but I just kind of misjudged that there. But Curly managed to get back through, and we're already going back down the inside. We need to get past him here because I knew we've got better pace than him. Like the pace difference between us two wasn't massive, but I knew I'd got to try and get past him really if I want to fight for this win. Flores was on pole, and his pace was, I didn't do any practice with him. I had no idea of what his pace was like, but I know he's a very quick driver. He's a bit inconsistent as well, but when he gets on pole and he's out front like he is now, I think he can easily win a race. So we've got to try and get past Chicken as well and try and catch him as quickly as possible here on lap 1. So 4th gear round the penultimate corner, already starting to pull away from the cars behind, but Chicken's got about half a second on us. We need to try and close that down as quickly as possible because I feel my setup is better on the super soft tyres than it will be in the second stint on the harder tyres, depending on whether I go on mediums or softs. And you can see I've currently set it to mediums, but you'll see later on that that does change, and that is because just in practice for me really my pace on the mediums was just not competitive at all, and it was not great whatsoever, and the tyre wear I had on mediums was pretty equal to what I had on softs. But you can see Chicken is weaving very excessively there at the start of lap 3, and I counted about 6 times there he weaved, which is not legal at all. So I did think whether I should take him to the stewards, but I think hopefully he'll get the message that you're not supposed to do that really. And we've managed to catch up to him and going slightly wide there into turn number 4, but the pace is looking pretty strong, and already us top 4 are starting to pull away from the cars behind. And my championship rival Synthetic, who's now 43 points behind after what's happened to me in the last 2 races, he qualified down in 9th, but we always know that his race pace is better than his qualifying pace. So at this stage, even though I'm quite a bit ahead of him, I didn't want to count him out at all really, because if you count him out he will always come back and fight for a podium at least. But you can see Chicken once again is weaving so much here, and I don't know why he was doing that really. But anyway, he's left the door open, we're going down the inside. That wasn't a move I was intending to do there really, and we've actually made a bit of contact, and you can see getting right up behind him now, making a bit more contact with his rear wing, going side by side now, down the back straight, braking at the 100-metre board. We're going to brake a bit earlier than him and go for the cut back, and we've managed to work that to absolute perfection there, and we go side by side now into the S's, 5th gear, still side by side, getting pretty close to him there, and we're going to have to go onto the curb, and we're going to go up the inside into the hairpin. He manages to slightly outbrake us, and he carries a bit too much speed, and he gets a bit greedy on the traction as well, and I think he just lost the rear there on the curb and hit my car and then spun and hit Curly. So Curly once again has got some bad luck, and it just seems like me and him really, we can't get a break from bad luck at the moment, and yeah, once again it's just not gone well for him there. He lost part of his front wing, and then when you lose part of your front wing on this game, there's nothing really you can do to get back into the fight. But anyway, we are up into P2, we've got Kaz behind us, and Floris is 3.8 seconds in front, so I knew at this stage we just got to try and push and close that gap down, because after what's happened in the last 2 races, I was just so desperate to get back onto the podium or fight for a win at least, because that would just be incredible. But you can see losing the rear there on the exit of turn 1, and Nardi X team is right up behind us, and our pace was actually not that great, and already Floris has got like a 5-second gap on us, and the cars behind started to close on us, and we've had to go defensive here on Nardi X team, and we managed to hold on to P2, but I knew really that he's quicker than us here, and you can just see I'm getting quite a bit of understeer, and the car was just not great really. It didn't feel great, and I should have done a bit more work on my setup really to get it right for the race. But you can see Nardi X team is going down the inside into turn number 1, and we're just not really going to fight him too hard here, because I knew he was quicker and we don't want to hold both of us up there. But I don't know where he qualified. I think he qualified quite far down the field, and he's done pretty well to get back up into P2 already. So I was hoping at this stage we're just going to follow him really, and he's got better pace than us, so if we can follow him, maybe he'll be able to drag us up to Floris. But I knew these top 2 are pretty quick, so the aim here really was to just hold on to the podium and see what I can do and try and fight the cars in front. But it's just going to be very, very difficult, and you can see by the way the car's handling, it's not going amazing. You can see changing the downforce up to 2 for when I go into the pits, because I just wanted a bit more front end grip, because the understeer I had was not great, and I've changed the diff down to 80 as well to try and save the rear tyres, because when you do a one stop you want to pit around lap 10 even if you go onto the softs, because that's the only time really that you can get to the end of the race, and if you pit any earlier then it's going to be a massive struggle. But you can see my rear left is on 71%, and Floris has already pitted, so we're now into P2. Synthetic's up into P3, and he's not far behind us already, but we're going to go into the pits. You can see I've set the tyres to soft tyres, so that was definitely a massive gamble from myself. That, as I said already, looked to me like the correct decision from what I did in practice, because my pace in the mediums was just not there whatsoever, and I knew if I go on mediums I'll just go backwards really, and the wear I had on the soft tyres was pretty equal to the wear I had on the mediums, where you'd lose about 4 or 5% a lap, and it was the same on both tyres. So I knew the softs was just going to be the best option, and I was expecting them to give me quite a bit of a pace advantage in the first part of the stint compared to the cars around me. So see, coming out of the pits in P6, Nardi hasn't really pulled away too much. I think we started to close back on him when the tyres were quite worn, but RC Alonso is behind us on the mediums in 7th, and we are the only ones who have gone to the softs, and no one in any other league I don't think went super soft to soft. So it's definitely a bit of a weird decision for myself, probably one in hindsight that I shouldn't have done, because you'll see later on in the video that my pace just towards the end of the stint was just not there whatsoever, and they didn't give me the pace advantage that I was hoping for. And also, as soon as I exited the pits really, I was just straight away thinking about tyre wear and saving tyres, which meant I was really tentative whilst driving, and that cost me quite a bit of speed, because I knew each lap you had to make sure the rear left had worn by 4 or 5% a lap, because then if it was any more then you were probably going to head towards a puncher. But you can see at the end of lap 12 we set a 31.3, which is the fastest lap of the race, so the pace was pretty good, but I was expecting the soft tyres to give me about 3 or 4 tenths a lap compared to the guys on medium tyres, and it just didn't happen. And maybe that's because of the way I was driving, just saving the tyres, or just the pace wasn't there really around here. And in the next few tracks I like them more, such as Spain, Silverstone, Spa, but the problem is I can't really practice for the next race because I'm revising for a lot of exams coming up for AS levels and things like that, which is obviously going to be the priority. So I will struggle to get in the practice for the next few races, and obviously struggling in terms of the championship in this as well. It's going to be a big ask for me to win the championship this year, but I will give it my absolute all. And you can see championship leader Synthetic is in P4, and he's slowly catching on us as well, because his pacing on the medium tyres was much better than mine on the softs, and gradually lap by lap my tyres were just wearing out more and more. So we're becoming a bit of a sitting duck once again. And I tried to make this strategy work, because after what Synthetic did at China with the going on the soft tyres in the second stint, making it work, I thought maybe I could do it around here, but it turned out it just didn't work. And you can see Nardi's well gone up the road, and Synthetic's closing on us as well. So there's a couple of the other cars behind, and lap by lap I was just being more and more cautious, just to make sure the tyre wear wouldn't go over 80%. I think when it goes over 80% then you've got a chance of a puncture really. So 32.1, so the pace is not too bad, about 7 tenths off what we were doing at the start of the stint, and Synthetic is right up behind us, and we're going to stay on board through this lap to just see how. I think we had a bit better straight line speed than him, but obviously he's got better traction, much better grip in general really, and I think his setup was better for the race as well, and he's driving very, very well this season, so it's going to be very, very tough to beat him this season. But once again, I'm going to try my absolute best, and especially in the latter half of the season where I can do a good amount of practice, I hope to try and come back and try and fight for my second championship. But unfortunately after the last 2 races I'm quite far behind. But you can see 59% wear on the rear left tyre, which is on target really, because I knew from some of the practice I did that, as I said already, you have to be trying to get 4 or 5% wear a lap. So we're on target to do that. With 6 laps remaining we should be probably going to get about just over 80% wear, so still got to be pretty cautious. But I knew Synthetic is going to probably get through on us, but I was still going to try and keep him behind and try and keep hold of this podium, because I knew I've got to try and make up points on him, because I'm 43 points behind him before this round, and I was in 5th in the championship as well. So yeah, we've got to try and get as many points as we can possibly get, because every point matters now. And you can see it's 32.0, which is once again not too bad, but Synthetic's now 4 tenths behind, and we're now starting lap 25, so not too long left, but gradually lap by lap it's going to be more and more difficult to keep him behind. You can see moving on later into lap 25, once again Synthetic is still right up behind us, and he's yet to find a way through. But I was just I think his best opportunity is going to be on the pit straight, or down this straight possibly. We don't get the best exit, and now he's right up behind us here, and he pulls out the slipstream and goes down the inside, and we're actually just going to back off here, because I knew there's the DRS line, so we got to get DRS for this second straight, and then we might be able to get him back, because I knew if we stayed in front there he was going to have DRS and then he'd be able to get me down here. So Rich Mix now in the DRS, in the slipstream. Synthetic defends the inside line. We're going to look to the inside, but now we're going to go to the outside, braking at the 100 metre board, and he goes a bit wide there, he brakes a bit too late, and you can just see the difference in traction, having to short shift quite a bit here. And once again he goes defensive, heading towards turn 4, so can we get him back here in the slipstream in 7th gear, braking at the 100 metre board, braking a bit earlier than him, going for the cutback like we did earlier in the race on Chicken, and we may have been able to make that work, but the traction just wasn't there and we couldn't get it done. And now onto lap 26, I knew really that we've just got to let him go. We don't want to lose any more time, because his teammate Alex is coming quite quickly, so we just got to focus on getting P4, and that would be good damage limitation really around this track, and then we move on to tracks I like. But obviously without practice that will be difficult, but I'll get in as much practice as I possibly can, and we'll see how it goes. But 74% wear now with 2 laps remaining, so it's going to be tight. It's going to be very, very tight, but think we're just about going to get away with it if we can look after our tyres, but now Alex is right up behind us, so we can't look after our tyres in any way. We've got to now defend this P4, so in the slipstream is Alex and in the DRS as well, and we're going to place our car in the middle of the track there just so he doesn't go for any kind of move, and he attempted it around the outside, but that's never really going to work. You can see the difference in traction. We're going to have to defend pretty aggressively down this straight, so hugging the inside line, he's going to go to the outside, which is never really going to work, because that was proven in 2014 with Rosberg and Hamilton that that move there is never really going to work. So we make a bit of contact there, heading into the S's now, but we stay in front here on lap 28, and you could just see we're struggling for grip so much as Alex dives down the inside this time, and we get the cut back, and that was pretty nicely done there. I knew as soon as he went for that move that we just got to let him go and then try and get him on the exit, and we managed to do that to perfection there. So we're holding on to P4 and we're going to stay on board from here to the end as 77% wear, so this battling is not helping our tyre wear in any way, but we've got to keep him behind because I know that obviously him and Synthetic, they're both teammates, so Alex is going to want to try and help him as much as possible and try and get in front of me. So Alex is once again right up behind us here, and I knew that down the pit straight is going to be his best opportunity. So down the back straight we go, and there's someone else coming up behind. I think that's Kaz maybe, I'm not too sure, can't really see it from this view there, but braking at the 100-metre board. 1 lap to go now, and I don't think we're going to punch her, so we're just going to have to try and hold on to this. This is going to be really, really tough because his tyres are in such a better condition compared to ours now. As Alex goes to the outside line, we defend the inside line once again, heading into turn 1. We brake a bit too late and he goes for the cutback, but we hold on to it just about for now, but short shifting once again in the exit, hugging the inside line again, so he has to go to the outside for this corner, and we're going to brake just about the 100-metre board, and this time we actually go a bit too wide, so Alex goes for the cutback now, and we're going side by side towards the S's, so we try to squeeze him over to the right, and we give him a lot of room on the inside there, and we actually make a bit of contact, and Alex has gone off the track, but I've seen his point of view of that, and he actually took me to the stewards for that, and to be honest, in my opinion, it's clear to see that it's desync, and no one was at fault there. I think he just understeered once again into me. So 82% tyre wear on the rear left, so Alex has now fallen into the clutches of Kaz. I still think it is Kaz, I'm not too sure from here, but I knew at this stage we've pretty much got P4 if we can hold on to it and if the tyre does not puncture here. So heading round the third to last corner, and now we're going to go into the penultimate corner, and I think we've just about got this, but Alex might be able to come back at us in the final corner as Kaz has gone off with a puncture, and he punctured on mediums on 78%, and I've managed to somehow not puncture on softs on 82%. So Flores takes the win, and we're going to head towards the line now to take P4, which is a pretty good result, and I'm happy with that after not having the pace and not having the correct strategy, and that's the good damage limitation, and we have to look forward to the next one where we can hopefully try and fight for a win. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Leave a like if you have, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.